Live from Darth Easy Studios in Eddyville, Kentucky. It's time for another episode of Darth Easy's TV Recap. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is back. Picard gets a ship and is ready to engage. And Iris heads into the mirror universe. Let's get started. Your host, Darth Easy. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Darth Easy's TV Recap. Alright, so here's the deal. I know this episode is very, very late. And I guess I have an excuse and another excuse. So, this episode was supposed to come out the February 8th. Well, a reason why this is coming out today, which will be most likely either the 18th or at the end of February 17th, I had training at work. And then I was just tired because I'm an Eva shift guy. So I work 3 to 11 every day. Well, almost every day. But yeah, so I work 3 to 11. And I had training for 7 to 3. So when I got home, I was just dead ass tired. I didn't feel like watching some of these episodes of TV. And I was just pushing it off. And I was like, alright. Then I started finally getting into my shows. I made it all the way through Riverdale. And then I started getting sick. My allergies start to kick my butt. And this weather in Kentucky sucks sometimes because it'll be hot one day, it'll be cold the next day. So I got kind of sickish, so my voice was not able to do the podcast. So my allergies are still bugging me, but I am feeling a little better now, so I am good enough to do this podcast. I finished what was left of my TV shows today, and I got a chance to actually record this. So now, let's get right to talk about some TV, and I was glad to be back. Let's hope I can stay healthy. So the first episode we got is Doctor Who, Season 12, Episode 6, Praxis. This episode, Doctor Who, was the weakest episode of the season. And there's always a weak episode in a Doctor Who season, is there? Yes. But I thought this episode was the one thing I don't like about shows. That's any shows. It's shows, movies, or any days. I don't want to be felt like I'm being preached to. And you can preach at me, but as long as you do it in a good and creative way. This episode of Doctor Who was not a good creative way. Basically, it's talking about pollution, alien species using us, and it was all about pollution, and it felt very Tomorrowland to me, and it felt annoying to me. So this episode was probably my least favorite Doctor Who episode of probably the Jodie Whittaker arc. But, I mean, that's all I want to say about this episode of Doctor Who. The next episode we're talking about is Black Lightning, Season 3, Episode 12, The Book of Markovia, Chapter 3, Motherless ID. So this episode, basically, the Pierce family finds out that Lynn has been captured by the Markovians, and so they're all planning a rescue mission to Markovia. But then you also, the most interesting part of this episode was really dealing with Khalil, where he's been captured by the Pierces, and they're trying to figure out, can we bring the Khalil we know back? And so they go inside his mine, and they find the good Khalil, and then it's just a battle of the two sides, and then the good Khalil wakes up, and then he remembers all the bad shit he had did, and he's gonna have to live with that, and him and Jennifer break up, I guess, and so going forward, I'm curious what they're gonna do with the Khalil story, the painkiller. I really liked this episode of Black Lightning, though. I thought it was a very good episode. Alright, so next show we're talking about is The Flash, Season 6, Episode 10, Marathon. So what I liked about this episode was, first off, we bring Diggle into it. And Diggle is, he is passing off stuff from Oliver's will, and he gives Barry the original mask that Barry gave Oliver back in Season 2 of Arrow. And first Barry thinks this is something about his mission, but no, it was just a token to remember Oliver by, and Barry's just like, I don't know how to do this without Oliver, and Diggle just says, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. And I like those little moments, but the episode was basically Iris was investigating this agency, or this like Spectre type thing going on, and then also there's this like mirror universe thing going on in Flash right now, where Iris gets sucked into the mirror universe, kind of like a Star Trek. So I'm curious what's going on with that. And also, you see Cisco, he's boarded Harry, so it was a little sad moment for there. So overall, I really did enjoy this episode of Flash. Curious to see what they do for the rest of the season. Let's move on to Legends of Tomorrow Season 5, Episode 3, Miss Me, Kiss Me, Love Me. This was a funny episode because the Legends, they go back to the 1940s, and there's this gangster who can't be killed, just kind of like the last episode. But the guy, he has like these hell bullets, and they're pretty deadly, but they can actually kill like these evil spirits. So it's something that the team is trying to get. Also, they introduced this new version of Sorry, and it's unlike the one we know. I mean, the future is a little different from from the future that we saw in a previous season of Legends Tomorrow. So, but it was cool seeing that version, so it's going to be curious to see if she can remember her past self, and I like this episode of Legends Tomorrow. That was pretty good. Let's move on to Riverdale, Season 4, Episode 12, Chapter 69, Men of Honor. So there's like a 3-part storyline, really. You have Veronica, it's going off to find a college. She finds out her dad's sick. We'll see if he's actually sick. I'll kind of believe it if I see it. But then Archie's uncle's former military buddy, it's come back to kill his uncle, and his uncle splits, and it was a cool little moment of the episode. The main part of the episode, though, was Jughead and Brett. They have their duel of honor, and Jughead and Betty and her mom are researching the secret society and the Stonewall Prep. I really liked this episode of Riverdale. It was cool seeing a little duel with from fighting to fencing to playing chess, and then Jughead leaving Stonewall Prep. I'm curious to see where they go forward in the next few episodes, because we know Jughead dies, so or maybe Fate dies or something. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. But overall, I really like this episode of Riverdale. Let's move on to Young Sheldon, Season 3, Episode 14, A Slump, A Cross, and Rockside Gravel. So you have one part of the episode, you have Georgie as Sheldon. Georgie is trying to get rich quick, getting gravel and then doing like the science stuff, and Sheldon's like, no, I don't care anything about money. But then Georgie's like, what would Professor Verton think? You're failing science. And Sheldon's like, damn it, he's right. So he has to help Georgie, which is funny. But the funniest part about the episode was really seeing Missy as she is struggling hitting, and she's still playing baseball, and she just cannot hit. So she turns to God, starts praying, and guess what? She starts hitting the ball, and she starts rubbing her bat with her mom's cross and everything. So it was a funny episode. I thought this episode of Young Sheldon was very, very funny. So let's move on to the theme of the week, and let's go with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Season 7, Episode 1, Manhunter. So this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine I really like this episode because the first episode of the new season, you see Raymond, he is a patrolman, and he has to be a patrolman for an entire year, so I guess this entire season, basically. But basically, he's a patrolman, and him and Peralta are trying to figure out their relationship in this new dynamic that's going on. And then I really liked Raymond's partner, the patrolman partner. I thought she was very funny in the episode, and I thought she was great. And I really like the Amy stuff where Amy thinks she's pregnant, and then they kind of start trying to have a baby. I hope they really don't, because I think having kids in sitcoms is the death of sitcoms, personally. But I thought the episode was very funny. Also, Terry also keeps thinking they're talking about him behind his back. And that was some funny stuff as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then there was a second episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So we go Season 7, Episode 2, Captain, I can't read my handwriting. So it was, the new captain shows up in this episode. It's funny stuff because the captain turns out to be a really good captain. Peralta's like, we've had bad captains before. We gotta find out if this captain's good or bad. But it turns out she's just a good captain, but she leaves because they don't trust her. But it was funny seeing Raven go, shady. And it's funny. It's a funny episode. I really like this episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So let's move on to Star Trek Picard Season 1, Episode 3, The End is the Beginning. I really like this episode of Star Trek Picard. This show has been great so far. I mean, even these 2 episodes, the first episode of Picard was just incredible. You're just like, holy crap, that's how you start a show out. And I loved the pilot episode. And the second episode was pretty good. It was pretty standard. Episode 3, last episode we found out, alright, so Picard's not going to be hooking back up with Starfleet. But he still needs a ship. So he sees a former person who was helping Picard out with the Romulan evacuation after their planet blew up. So I really like this. I like the episode because you see his partner and how Picard leaves Starfleet. And you see that where he told him, they say, if you don't do it this way, you can have my resignation. They took his resignation and he retired, but he always wanted to go back out in space, and it was a cool little. I like this episode. So he finds a pilot who the girl recommends, and she's gonna team back up with Picard to go after Bruce Maddox, I believe, who was the one who was the lead scientist into cybernetics who kind of gone missing. This episode was cool because, you see, and then you also see the stuff with the Romulans, you see the stuff with the girl, and then the scientists who is the cybernetics on Earth, Alison Pill's character, they're all on the ship, and the guy's a former Starfleet captain. So it's cool seeing all 4 of them together, and then you get to hear Picard say those words we've been waiting for him to say, engage! I thought it was a cool little episode, so I'm looking forward to the next episode. I hear it's really good. So let's move on to Diary of a Future President, Season 1, Episode 4, National Mall. This episode was a very cute episode. I like the show. It's a very sweet little Disney show. The episode was her and her best friend, they go off to the mall. They go into the store they're not supposed to go to, basically the Victoria's Secrets. They're just having fun, and she had a bra on, and when she gets home, she realizes that she accidentally took a bra home, and she's faced with that guilt of having dreams and of her being haunted. She said, "You took the bra home. You are a horrible person. Why are you doing this?" And so it was very funny moments in the episode. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Also, you had the boyfriend character who finally commits to the mom character, says, okay, I'm in all the way. So let's talk about the last episode, because I have no streaming since I've just been since I just finally finished my episodes, and that is My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 15, Smoldering Flames. This episode was basically, it was preparing us for the next arc of the rest of the season, I think. You had the big giant thing, so he's like the right-hand man of One For All. You see not Kirishima, but the one who could teleport people. He gets captured by Gran Torino. That was a little cool moment, but then you see Todoroki and Bakuto, they're going to the provisional exam, so we'll see if they actually get their license, and then you also see some other moments. So this episode was very much set up episode. It wasn't the best episode of the season, but it was still good TV. I liked it. So guys, that ends another episode of Darfeezy's TV Recap. Guys, check out every week I try to talk about every week on Darfeezy's TV Talk. I don't know if next episode will come out on my actually I'm behind one more episode. So whenever I finish watching all my other shows, I will have another episode, but I don't think my next episode, my scheduled episode, will come out the week it's supposed to come out, because I'll probably be catching up on some other shows as well. So guys, it'll come out when it comes out. I am sorry, I've kind of failed this city, but I'll get better, I promise. I have a lot of shows right now. I mean, Next week I have 11 episodes to talk about again. So it's a little overwhelming at times, but I'll make it through it. So, guys, also check out the Easy Cage podcast. This Friday, we have the Easy Cage winners. All the movies that we nominated in a previous episode of the Easy Cage show. We nominate who should win Best Picture, our nominees. We announced the winners. So, it's going to be kind of curious what wins Best Picture, what wins Best Actor. Watch and listen and find out. Also, check out my YouTube channel. I don't have any movie reviews at the moment because I've been kind of lazy going to the movies and there really hasn't been anything worth watching. I was going to go see Bad Boys, The Gentleman, but I don't think I'm going to get to watch those until much later. But I will watch those eventually, maybe, and Harley Quinn also. So hopefully some movies come out and I'm hopefully feeling better. And the damn weather's been so crappy whenever it's my day off, and I'm just like, I don't want to drive in the rain or anything. I guess I'm an old man. So guys, until next time, all too easy.